What's going on, everyone? In this video, we're going to be doing the weekly recap of the stocked up trading floor. The market made new all-time highs yet again this week. And we also have a lot of interesting stuff going on this week as we have crucial CPI inflation data before the bell on Tuesday. And earnings season is back in action with the big banks kicking us off. And then TSM and Netflix later in the week as well, as we cover in the main channel video. But besides that, let's jump right into this week's recap. Starting off with the breakouts, we could see on the 7th, decent action. Wolf, ENVX, Mara, Riot had decent moves. Nothing too crazy, but I would say it was fine. There were more duds than usual on the 7th, but that's just normal part of the market. Looking throughout the rest of the week, it definitely picked up a bit on the 8th as there were 4 plays that increased by over 100%, and then SoFi also increased by 94%. But QS and Moderna definitely led the way on the 8th with 217% and 154% gains. A handful of trades did pretty well as well, and then of course a couple duds sprinkled in there as well. I would say last week was definitely a little bit more intense in a good way. But not every week can be home runs. Looking at the 9th, we could see decent action with Microsoft and Boeing. MRK, Nvidia, and BE did fine. Nothing like too crazy, but definitely respectable moves in an intraday sense. We could see we have a handful of plays that did fine and a couple duds as always. And then looking at the 10th, scrolling down to the recap. All right, here we are. I would say this is definitely the day of the week. VRT just hit it out of the park as these put options increased by 600%, which is crazy. There's also a big money trade on this one as well, so that is where most of the opportunity was concentrated, and that was just a phenomenal move. So that was great. And then there were also good gains from LUV, Netflix, Delta Airlines, Datadog, SoFi. So great action on the 10th. Lots of trades did, fine. And, of course, there were a couple duds in there, but not many. So phenomenal, great action on the 10th. It was definitely the day of the week. And then things slowed down a little bit on Friday. There wasn't really too much craziness going on. Circle had some decent movement, though. Then looking at the pullbacks, not too much on the 7th. As we know, pullback trades are definitely calmer than the breakout ones because the best trades just don't pull back. And the trade-off to that is that the pullbacks can definitely be a smoother trend to follow. But looking at this on the 8th, again, some decent moves, nothing too crazy. The VRT breakout on Thursday was definitely the play of the week, but Boeing also had some really good action on the 9th in the dip buy or pullbacks channel, we could say, and also good action out of Microsoft and Broadcom as well. So good stuff there. Then looking at the 10th, definitely more action here. Tesla and Netflix had good moves, some decent moves out of Southwest, Delta Airlines, and Datadog. VRT didn't really do too much in a pullback sense. And then looking at Friday, nothing too crazy, but there was some decent action with McDonald's and Circle. Jumping into the Theta trade recap, all 5 of these expired for max profit, which is always nice to see. If you don't short put options already, definitely look into it. It's a great strategy to know how to do, whether you decide to implement it immediately or not. It's important to be aware of other strategies out there to help, you could just say, smoothen your returns over the long term and to just be a better, more informed options trader. Basically, when you sell put options, you put yourself in a position where you get paid to potentially buy a stock that you'd otherwise be happy to own at a price you'd be happy to own it at. Not only is this great by itself, but the option you are selling is theoretically a little bit more expensive than it should be, which certainly works to your benefit. So that's great to see. As always, if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out to Tom, Hunter, Mason, or myself in SM Chat, and we'll make sure you're taken care of. But besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and have a great rest of your weekend.